Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to do a reading. We're in these powerful eclipse energies. So today, as I'm filming this, is Wednesday the 12th, where I'm at in New Mexico. So the eclipse being tonight around, I think it peaks around like midnight Mountain Time. And so anyway, I woke up this morning just like lit up, like I was strapped to the side of a rocket, and it's been that way all day. It's probably like 3:30 or 4 o'clock or something like that now, and I've just been like really jazzed up and super intense energies. I've been feeling it the last couple days, but today it just, to me, it feels so amazing. It feels like liberation. It feels like there's just this breakthrough energy that's going on, and I know for some people it's kind of taken them under, like if it's a wave. Like I've always kind of been like that. Like the more intense the energies are, the better I feel, I think, because I'm kind of intense. And so it's kind of like, oh good, it's the world is matching me now. But it's like that with the X flares, and it's like that, it's always been like that with eclipses, and stuff like that. But it is an intense energy. So if we're on the crest of the wave, it's kind of like woo, and then, but we can also be kind of under it, so depending on just like how you are with big energies, how sensitive that you are, and of course some people don't really notice anything. Sorry, something just fell off of my table, and I thought it was like sliding across, and it looked like a spider that was running at me, but it wasn't that. So anyway, speaking of being sensitive, but super intense energy. So I want to read into it while I'm in this like super heightened space, and while the energies are really lit up. So I'm going to dive in and see what the overall energy is for this eclipse, for today, for where we're at right now collectively, what might come through. So we get two, wow. So we get two cards. The first card, I don't think I've ever gotten this in a reading, like for anyone, collective or personal. So whale spirit, trust in the mystery. So big energies, big moves going on, big widespread changes. And that's what I'm feeling, where like I've been having all these realizations really since I think it started around last Wednesday, but and I was feeling, it started last Wednesday. I felt really inward and really quiet. I felt really aggravated by my daughter, or like just people, or like anything. Like I just wanted to be alone, but I couldn't be alone. And it's like I was listening, like there was like something right here that I wanted to hear. And I think that came up in the last reading too, where there was like a lot of information coming in, which is interesting because I'm getting a new roof, and it just started this week. They started on Monday, and I've been trying to get a new roof. We have leaks. I have one over there, like right above me. That one doesn't actually leak, but there's a spot there, and then one in my daughter's bedroom. And it's just been like years that I've been trying to get this roof fixed. It's a really old house, and I don't think it's ever been replaced. And so there are three houses actually, and mine was supposed to be the first, but it was actually the last. And so mine is landing on the week of this eclipse. I think they're going to finish on Friday, like right after the peak. And so for me, the symbolism of the crown chakra, and that's what's been coming up in the readings and in sessions and in my dreams and stuff like that, where it's like the opening and the receiving of information. And so the symbolism of the roof, and like tearing off all that old, that old energy, that old things that are blocking our access. And so one of the things that's been happening for me is I've been sleeping really well, like really deep, and like having all these dreams, but I don't remember them. Like I remember my dreams more if I wake up. Like sometimes I feel like I'm woken up just to remember and to like get it and to have it be conscious. But this time I'm not remembering anything, but sometimes I'll wake up briefly in the middle of the night, and I'll just feel this like a snippet of the dream, or there'll be like this strange energy, like I'm clearing things, I'm clearing things. And what I've been doing, and I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier, because I've been doing energy work for 15 years, but I just go through and I clear my chakras, so I can just like feel them, and I feel how they're hooked up to the higher. And then if there's like a blockage in them, like I'll like twitch, that's how I'm in sessions, and like twitch around. So that's kind of how I register and clear a blockage. And so it's usually in my crown chakra that I'm clearing. It's either my crown or my root. But lately it's like, so I'll wake up and I'll just be feeling a little agitated, and then, there'll be some clearings on my crown. and then I go back to sleep. And so it's really interesting that's been happening in sessions. I think I've been bringing that up, how there are these clearings out the crown chakra because we're opening up more. So the symbolism of the roof, like always reading the symbols and knowing that like a lot of what happens in my life at least is collective, because I'm tuned into collective energies and I always have been. And I think that's part of what I'm here to do, is to read and to relay and translate the collective energies. So I watch my hologram to understand what's going on collectively. And so the roof, getting the new roof, peeling off the layers that are blocking us to what? What is the crown? It's blocking us to our divinity, blocking us to that unity consciousness. And of course we can clear out, all the other things that are blocking as well. But we are in Pisces, a lot of Pisces energy right now with the sun and, Neptune about to move out of Pisces. And so a lot of Piscean energy, which is that crown chakra energy as well, the 12th sign, the subconscious, the unconscious, the Akashic, and all of that. So a lot of that kind of energy going on right now. What was my point? The whale. Yeah, the whale spirit. So the mystery. So big movements, big things being rearranged on a large scale. This is also 65. I added up to 11. I wouldn't collapse it down to a 2 because 11 has, merit on its own. Very powerful number, and it's a portal number. That's how I read number 11, a portal number into something completely new. But what is that new? It's that alignment with that higher truth of ourselves in reality. So what I'm feeling from this energy is huge clearings. So that's what I was saying. I've been having these realizations and was wanting time alone because I felt like there was something that wanted to come through for me, but I couldn't catch it. And then when I went down to the desert house this weekend and I was alone, I started catching it. And I started having all these realizations and just seeing patterns in me, patterns in how I leak energy, patterns in how I grasp at things that aren't really aligned for me. They're not really aligned to the largest picture of who I am and what I'm doing here, but they hold a certain piece, and then I want to settle for them because I've just, it's like I'm longing for this. I'm longing for the sun. I'm longing for the whole galactic picture, but if there's a fractal of that, then I kind of want to settle for that instead of going the whole way and releasing all the energy leaks and really going the whole way so that we are truly a match to all of what we want. And so I saw that in myself, and I saw this habit of kind of like settling and just playing out these patterns, and it was kind of hard to see because I was playing them out and they were feeding me, and it was kind of just, it was like this little pattern that I had. And then I have a soul sister where we're always paralleling, and I actually thought to reach out to her and be like, oh my gosh, help me, help me untangle this. I don't want to play out this pattern. But the next morning she wrote to me, and we were both in the same energy, which we always are. I think we're twins. I think we're just journeying together. She's like the person that I match up with the most on this planet, other than my daughter. And in terms of what we're working on and what we're here to do, the mission that we have. And so, yeah, it's that started, I met her about a year ago, and that's when I started feeling like a lot of us were, we're meeting that soul family and those collaborations where we're moving through these blockages. So if you are moving through these huge blockages where you're coming into that super expanded self, a lot of us are having assistance, or we've already had assistance set up where we're doing this together. We're being put together with people that are helping us move through and go the whole way. It's like musical chairs where some people have to go because they're actually kind of a source of leaking energy or capping you, and then other people you're finding that are creating that real expansive energy where we're going the whole way, where we're removing those blocks, those tendencies, those habits that are blocking us from going the whole way. Okay, let's see what the second card. That's funny. So, Ant Spirit, time to collaborate. Exactly. That's what I was just saying, where we're coming together with our soul family. We're meeting soul family that are going to help us to come into this expansive state, where we are, coming into that, the largest versions of ourselves, and kind of jumping off the cliff instead of settling or staying corralled in a certain area, and I was saying to my daughter today, it's I felt like I was given all these, and I was saying how I really like the intense energy because I'm intense, right? We were giving all these boxes, well, here's the box of relationship, and here's the box of job, and here's the box of social things, and you're kind of trying to fit in it, and okay, and now it's just oh my God, just out of the way, just like blasting not only the boxes but the programming that we've had, where there might still be subconscious things where it's like, well, I can't have this, I am this, and I can't be this. I have to fit in these boxes, so I better just settle for the box, whatever version of that is, instead of realizing that we can have a reflection of the bigness of who we are, and just jumping off that cliff and trusting that, and knowing that it's going to catch us as long as we don't block or limit ourselves. And that leap of faith, and that taking that risk where it's like, well, and I've said this many times, like, well, I'm going to take that risk, and if I die, or I'm alone forever, or I make a fool of myself, or I fail, it's worth it. I would rather try and know than stay small, however you want to say that. But again, the collaboration where it is a joint effort, and we are doing this together. Even if we haven't found that soul family and we aren't working with them, they're coming in. Or even just knowing that if you are taking those leaps of faith and you are busting through patterns and programs in yourself where you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can let go of this because it kind of feeds me, that pattern, or that, or like, I don't know what's on the other side of it, to know that there are other people doing that as well, and that it is a collaborative effort, and that, we are kind of passing that torch through the telepathic network as well, and doing this together, and that there is, so what was I saying? Yeah, part of that where I was talking about the boxes, and I was saying to my daughter about trying to squeeze in, and then I'm being like, no, I'm just going to exist up here, and then I'm going to find the other people that are existing up here, and we're going to help build this higher frequency way of living, and we're just going to drop these boxes all together. And it sounds kind of cliche, and it kind of sounds like I'm like just saying like, oh, let's live outside of the box, but it's like the threads are going really, really deep. Like, I was having these sort of this synchronicity around childhood, and it was just this message over and over again. It's like you're about to retrieve something from your childhood, something that you had when you were younger that you lost. And I was kind of like, oh, what is that? And I knew it was connected to, like, I'm really connected to the elementals and to the Fey realm, and I've just always been really connected to nature. And I would sit, and I would just kind of like stare at nature, or stare at a rock, and I just knew there was something else behind there, and I would like merge with it, and as I got older, I would kind of be like, oh, like I felt like I was like blocked out of the kingdom, and I would want to merge. But now I realize, like, when we look at nature, we sit with nature, and we want to merge, or we see behind, it's like we are, and the behind feels us longing for them, or feels us connecting with them, and then they connect with us, and they reach back. And so I've just been becoming aware of how that connection with nature, and those portals, and how I've had it my whole life, and how just having that awareness, and having that even like taking photos. I like to take photos of nature where I'll be like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. Or like, oh, I feel a portal there, I want to capture it. And then it's like I'm giving attention to it, and then I'm sharing it with other people, and then other people are giving attention to it. And it's like honoring the energetics of nature, the behind the portals, the beauty, the way the light plays with the texture, and all just the magic. But it's capturing that behind energy. And when we're tuning into the behind is tuning into us. And so those invisible realms. And so for me, that's how I just kind of lived naturally when I was younger. And I am living that way again now, but I got kind of like separated from it. So, when you have expansiveness, and then you get corralled, and then you start to have that expansiveness again, it's almost like you have to like go back and look at that corralled place, and look at like what caused you to corral, and kind of just like clear that. And that's what I feel a lot of us are doing right now, where we're we've been coming into that expansion, we've been coming into more of ourselves, but it's again like just going back, and like find, like spreading it all out, where there's no break in that expansion, where it just becomes expansion. It just becomes the whale. It becomes the ocean. It becomes the record where everything emerges back. I hope I'm making sense. But we are working on this. We are working on this together, because as more and more people are coming home to their true organic nature, to their true orientation in life, whatever that is for you. Like my daughter's really, really good at kind of like overcoming barriers, and overcoming blocks, and overcoming like mental concepts. And she's just had like so much training in her life, and and she has to, it's like discerning what's true and what's not true. That's really what it is, discerning what's true and what's not true, and knowing how to navigate and stick with what's true. And then you can like move around the blocks because you're with what's true. So it's like we all have our certain thing that we're really good at, or that we just do naturally, that becomes beneficial for other people because we're carrying those codes around. We're carrying them around, and we can, when we, so that thing of like having the corral, it's like when we can go back into the corral and clear that out, then we become a clear transmission of that which we are. And we can clear out that trauma or that self-concept or that program that might still be running in the background, like maybe in certain areas where it might get triggered, but to address that. And so I know a lot of us have been having like last week I had or maybe it was this week, I don't know when it was, but it was sometime in the last week, since I've done that last reading, where I had like so much grief and so much sadness and so much longing, where I just like broke down and just like sobbed and like held myself in that, where it was like, I got you, like I got you, and like feel this, because this is a portal. And that's like when I was going into this, where it's like, oh honey, I never meant to make you feel that you were wrong. I'm sorry I abandoned you. I'm sorry I held you in places that were too small for you or not quite right for you, and I'm sorry I didn't believe in you, and just like let's feel this together, and let's like expand it and like breathe it out, and it's important to go back in. So I feel like the eclipse, I'm getting dizzy. Hold on a second. Take a breath here. Whoo, my God. It's like pressure cooker. Holy crap. I'm like channeling through like a whole bunch of energies. Like my little vessel just can't, oh my God, I'm so dizzy. It just can't hold it. Wow. This is really huge. Cleansing, clearing energy as big as a whale, as big as the ocean. Yeah, okay. So anyway, I lost my train of thought because I got too dizzy and I had to like break out to ground a little bit. But yeah, to clear that energy. Okay, so yeah, I feel like this eclipse energy is really, and I'm feeling dizzy again, to really pushing through and helping us to remember and helping us to feel the pain of that like original moments or trigger that caused us to abandon ourselves or caused us to view ourselves as wrong or caused us to shut down our access. And for some of that might have been birth, it might have been birth, or it might have been, early childhood, or it might have been, later in life. So anyway, okay, let me pull some more and see what else. That is a one. This is a one card. So we have the 11 and the 1, which like you walk through that portal and then you come into this new beginning, this new beginning. And okay, so that's the other thing. That's the other thing that I'm feeling. A lot of people that I'm talking to, myself, my daughter, and other people, it's like, yeah. So speaking of that trauma where you kind of shut down, there's also traumas that break us open again, right? That break us open where we start connecting larger and wider. And for a lot of us, that the trauma that we endured that broke us open also created this sort of like hypervigilance where we broke open to our psychic access or to being energetically attuned. But a lot of that's like this hypervigilance where you're trying to read the energy or trying to psychically perceive to see if you're safe. It's like it kind of cracked open in trauma and kind of cracked open for safety, but then it does become a gift and a skill where you can like, have this access, and you might use it in healing work, or you might use it in supporting your friends, or you might use it in supporting yourself. But there can be a bit of like neuroticism in that too, where you're constantly going out to like check the perimeter to try to get information. And it's just this feeling of like not being safe. And so I know a lot of us, those of us that have had a lot of trauma, are finding like, why is my psychic center not loud right now? Why can't I perceive? Why can't I see behind the corner? Like, why am I cut off from that? And then feeling like, is something wrong? Like, am I doing something wrong? Like, maybe I need to like, do more clearings, or maybe I need to, like take a course, or like, like get an exorcism or something, But what I've been feeling, what I'm getting is that it's almost like, as we're finding congruency with like who we are, and we're coming back into that wholeness, And again, that collaboration where enough of us are doing that, and of course the frequencies on the planet are rising as well, where we're swimming in a frequency now that's not in such a contrast to us, whereas before there was a lot of density, and kind of like what I was saying about my daughter, like she's really good at that, partially because of trauma, where you have to spidey sense and see, like, well, what's true and what's not, am I safe? And of course that's still going on. It's like we have those skills and those gifts and we need to use them, but also the frequency of the planet is rising, where it's like it's more of a match to who we are. So it's like we don't have to like psychically jump out as much to feel safe in this realm. If you are a real high frequency person and you came in that way, it's like, for me, and I talk about this a lot actually, where you kind of leave your body and you kind of hang out like in the astral because you just feel more comfortable there. Or maybe you're drawn to do a lot of like drugs and stuff, because it matches you, it matches your consciousness, and it helps you stay in that, like the density of the planet is pretty rough. And that's where a lot of us started abandoning ourselves, because again, it's like, well, wait, I'm up here, but then I'm given these boxes and I don't know how to make myself small and fit in here, so I guess there's something wrong with me. And then you get these self concepts and stuff like that. And so anyway, but as things are starting to match and rise, and like more and more people, and like energetically the terrain on this planet is starting to feel more comfortable and more of a match. It's almost like we're being asked to come into our bodies and to be here more, to stop like reaching out and perceiving and having all like the psychic hits and the premonitions, and we might still be having that, but it's just less. It's like it's safe to just ride the wave. It's safe to just be in our bodies and to be here now and to respond to what's going on. And so it reminds me of that dream I was talking about last week, where I had to go up to the 10th floor to for this rehearsal, and I was like going up through all these levels, and it was really hard. And then they moved the rehearsal down to the second floor because it was easier for people to get to. But the message for me was like you're bringing yourself down, and you're down. You're being asked to be closer to the earth. You're being asked to be more embodied and more present, because we're anchoring these energies. And so I think there's really something huge right now about like just being and for a lot of us, we can feel kind of trapped. Like my friend today was saying, like, I forget how she said it, but I feel the same way. Like, I've never felt more earth plane. It's like for so much of my life, I've been like I was like a little fairy, and I just lived this enchanted world, and then I bumped into all this trauma, and then I was like disassociated, but the journey, it was very hard for me to just to be in my body and to be in the moment and to be like creating, right? But so it's almost like we're being called back down onto the earth plane, and we might feel a little trapped, and we might feel like, what's wrong, what's going on? It's like, well, it's time to create. It's time to create with others. And it's like we're at this point where we have enough congruency within ourselves, that we have congruency within the outer world, within the outer environment, that we're being asked to be here to create on this realm. A lot of what we were doing before was going way out and building the new template and being the bridge to that new template, like up above, right? But now we're anchoring that up above, and we're creating it on this realm. Okay, so a bunch of things that I just said, I hope I made sense, but yeah, definitely like feeling like maybe not understanding that we're being asked to come down here so that we can create together in this realm. We've already done the template building beyond. We've merged with that beyond part of ourselves. We're holding it. We're matching, we're matching the frequency here, and we're bringing it down, and we're collaborating with others. And so it just feels different. It's like a different phase, like phase 1 is complete, and now we're doing phase 2, which is this creation energy. And so I've been seeing this for a while, where we were wrapping up the cycle of alchemy, or the cycle of suffering and constant alchemy, and like the lady of perpetual rebirth, right? So that card has come up a lot. It's come up for a lot of you in personal readings as well, if you're watching and you have that card, you know what I'm talking about. And so moving through that. But now it's like the game is different, where we're creating, we're a little bit more embodied, we're, and we might miss our dragon rides and our unicorns, and, like when we were like pulled out and doing all that work in the astral. But, to be here now, it's just the next phase, and it's going to be really beautiful as well, in creating that heaven on earth. And so my daughter was talking about, kind of reminds me of my dream as well, that vertical axis where a lot of us were climbing, we're building, and now it's like we're doing this, we're doing like 360, we're doing the horizontal axis. but we already have this. We already have this one. So it's like we're bringing this into this, and it just feels different. You might feel a little trapped, you might feel a little depressed, you might feel a little like, what the fuck, I missed my ladder, you know. It's like you haven't lost it, you still have it, and it's going to come in exactly when you need it. But we're not building up there anymore. We're not climbing and building. We're bringing it down. It comes in when we need it. And so knowing that it's safe and it's okay, and that you're not like shirking your mission, or you're not like missing the boat or being asleep, or like you need to shake yourself off. It's like, this is how it is now for a lot of us, if you're relating to this. And for some people, you've been here the whole time, and maybe it's the opposite, because it is the world of polarity, and maybe you're relating the other way, where it's like you've been here your whole life, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Like all of a sudden the heavens have opened up, and what am I doing now? I'm like off in the unicorn poles, and I'm accessing. Oh, holy shit, am I going crazy? And the energies. It's like, so actually, yeah, because I have been talking to some people that are like, everything opened up for me, and I didn't know what was going on, and that happens a lot when I read in town. Like there will be these people that are like, I'm having these like communications in my head with this person, and like I think they're hearing me. I think it's telepathy, and like I can't tell anybody about this, or like they're seeing things, and and it's like, so it's like if the centers, and so I've been talking with this for about a couple people, where like for me, I can't do drugs or plant medicines. I can do like cacao and blue lotus and embodiment herbs, because I need to get my body. But for a lot of people will be like, oh, you need to come sit in ceremony with me, and I'm like, no, I actually don't, because I came in out, I need to get in. But for people that are like, and it's I don't mean to be like, it's different for everybody, right? But I know for some people that I know that have been sort of like on, like locked in this level, and then the plant medicines really help them to connect. But even for people that aren't working with it in that way, it's like it seems like trauma or just some of the trials later in life are clicking them on to that access. And so there it is again, where maybe they had it when they were younger, and then they got kind of blocked for it, and now it's opening up. So depending on where you're at, and like what role you're holding, and what place, what part you're playing for this ascension and this awakening, could be presenting differently. Where you're hooking in. And so wherever you're at, you're not going crazy either. Like if you've been kind of really good on the material plane, and now you're connecting higher, that's the polarity that you're working right now. And if you've been really good at this, and now you're connecting more earth plane, you're not losing anything. One might think you're going crazy, the other might think you're losing something, you've fallen off the wagon, you're going to sleep. No, it's just where the roles are flipping. It's like a pole shift. If you were at North Pole, now you're South Pole. If you're at South Pole, now you're at North Pole. You're experiencing something different. You're experiencing the opposite polarity, because it's really about balance. It's about balancing those polarities, and just doing different things. And of course the eclipses are like that as well, where we're clearing out the patterns that were blocking us. We're clearing out the things that were blocking us from being in our highest alignment, and the things where maybe we were settling, or it was old energy, or there was a lesson in it but it's not relevant anymore, and moving on. And the eclipses are just kind of like Kali energy, where it's like whatever needs to go is going to go, and leaving room for whatever needs to come in. Okay, all right, how long did I talk? I had talked for 27 minutes. Oh my God, on 2 cards. Yeah, 2 cards. So yeah, I kind of woke up this way, where it was just like, whoa, and I've been in this kind of download energy, this kind of channel, this clarity. I hope I made sense. I said a lot of things. I'm going to pull, I don't want this to be too long, but I'm going to pull some more cards. Yeah, exactly. So the 8 of Wands, this is major activation energy. It's like drinking out of the fire hose. That's how I feel today, where it's just like big fucking energy, and it's either gonna like kind of topple you, and that's fine if you need to topple, and however it presents for you, it's just know that it's taking you where you need to go. It's a wave, and whether you're riding it or getting pummeled by it, it's in service, and it is that eclipse energy, and it's going to shake loose. It's going to shake loose whatever needs to be shaken loose, and the more we can surrender, and the more we can see it from that higher perspective, and just be willing to like let go of whatever needs to be let go of, and even if that's just like, I can't do my day today, and I need to I need to, that's what I did last Friday. I was like, I can't do today. I'm not doing today. And I canceled everything. And I didn't do anything, I just tended to my mood, I tended to my pummel, and gave myself that time and just embraced it and accepted it. Right. So just accepting whatever's coming through, because it is big energy. Yeah. And the Ace of Pentacles said that is the new path. And so even however we're receiving this is being offered a gift. Here you go, you're being offered that gift, and that gift is yourself. It's your true self. It's more of yourself. It's yourself without the blocks and the limitations. It's more of your soul family. It's more of your soul. It's more connection. It's more of everything. So just and just trusting that and knowing that. Just some validation there in case you needed it. Let's see. Let's do a few more. The Hermit, right? So there's that soul card, and there you are kind of looking into that lantern, which is your own soul, your own self. And that's really what it's about right now. And that reflection. And whereas we might not be seeing into the future, we might not be having those psychic perceptions or that intuition, we might not be able to trust it. We are able to see into ourselves. It's really, really supported in this energy to be able to kind of spidey sense what needs to go in us. It's like anything outside of ourselves, forget about it. But within ourselves, that's the golden key. That's where we can see where we're still holding on, just that like honest inquiry, that honest self-reflection. And if you can take time and maybe sometimes that's why we do get pummeled, because it's like me last Friday, and where I was saying like there was something that I felt like I needed to hear, and I felt really agitated and everything was throwing me off. It's like I just needed to get out in the desert by myself where I just had a lot of spaciousness, and I could hear, and I could see into that lantern and see what was trying to be illuminated within myself. And it's hard to see those shadows, and it's hard to see those patterns that are like woven into like a lot of different labyrinths of pain and trauma and struggle and self-protection, but there is something coming through for us right now. And we're not quite in the eclipse energy. I mean, we are in the eclipse energy, but the eclipse is tonight, so we have some time. But the more willing and the more we can kind of like him, turn and face it and face that within ourselves, the easier it's going to be. But just trusting the ride, getting dizzy again. So okay. Let's do Couple Oracle. Oh, okay. So this is interesting. So this is the Witch card, another one. So in this deck, Witch is, with periods in between, women in total control of herself. So that applies for men as well. That like the female aspect of ourselves, that soul, that and a woman or a man in total control of him or herself is one which leans into that soul. So that's that as well, leaning into that inner light, that inner lantern, that inner knowing, that deep ocean, that huge source of expansiveness where we have access to everything, and all this intense energy really coming on us, but indicating a huge opportunity to hook up with ourselves in this way, and being in that sovereignty and being in our sovereign power, just indicating this is what's on the other side of this, is what's on the other side of this eclipse energy, this huge energy of sovereignty and completion within ourselves. I mean, she's sitting inside the moon, but it's almost like she's sitting inside the burning embers of her own soul. This is like her own soul signature that she is with herself. She or he is with himself. He's with his soul. We're taking action on that which is who we are. So again, that expanded energy that we came in with, and then we got a little wonky, we got off it, but we're coming back into it. We're going in. So, when we do get toppled and we are in tears and we're breaking down and we're allowing all that to come in so that we can sit with and expand, that's this as well, where we can sit with and expand and bring light into all those self-abandonments and all those like ideas that we got, whether it's through religious training or, parental training, or just like watching society, or like, for me, it was always like, how does everybody know like how to talk? How do they know how to say things? And they all laugh and they think it's funny and they talk about stuff. Like, how do they know how to do that? I don't know how to do that. I didn't know how to do that. They all seem to want to talk about the same things and laugh at the same things. And I was just sort of like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't get the human code, And so how was I not going to think something was wrong with me, And then all the little self-abandonments, and then realizing like, wait, I came in with certain codes that I'm here to plant, And then I abandoned myself, and now I'm like, oh, I got my codes back. And then it's like, let's go back in and nurture this one. go back in so that it can be congruent, and so that you're sitting in the circle of your own energetic signature, right? And you're reparenting yourself. There's something really, really powerful about this eclipse energy, which is helping us to go again, to go back in and kind of push out those edges by just sitting with that sadness, those core feelings of self-betrayal, the feelings of I'm not okay, I'm not right, I better try to do this. I might as well do this and have some experience, even though I don't want to do anything, just the ways that the society just like really encourages and trains us to leave our original soul transmission. That's what we're getting back, and it's this big, and we're getting it back in collaboration with others, and when we get it back, we're going to meet others that are also vibrating at this larger frequency, where we're going to help create this new earth together, where we're all in our own unique transmission, and we have it. And so it's really coming through. There's a lot of energy really supporting in us, bringing us that gift of ourselves, and to just turn towards it is the advice, to surf these waves. Just turn towards it and know that to abandon ourselves in any way is just prolonging our homecoming, is prolonging our homecoming and the full circle of our own frequency. And to just, maybe that's not the pattern for everybody, but that's what it feels like to me, that the pattern, like at deepest level, the thing that we're clearing is that self-abandonment, or that wound where we thought that we were wrong, where we thought that we needed to be something that we weren't, and maybe we got really good at being something that we weren't. Maybe we created businesses or empires or enterprises or things, and then our identity and our self-worth and our whatever is wrapped up in this kind of like false structure, this false castle, this castle made of sand that's falling now. And and it's like perhaps we're feeling bad about ourselves, or even looking in the world and being like, oh my gosh, everything that's valuable, that we've been told is valuable, is falling. And it's like, well, it's falling, and we're falling in our lives and our ego structures, because it's because this was coming up the last two readings as well. It's not the truest true. It's not the truest true. It's not the true that we came in with. It's where we got corralled, and so we're coming back into the expansiveness. But we have to go in and let those things crumble too, so that it can go the whole way through. This is coming through as a card of like going the whole way through, which in total control of herself. She has the whole sphere. There's no more like hidden little things that weren't addressed. So something about really going back and feeling those places, and like real honest self-inquiry in these eclipse energies right now, and going up for the next 2 weeks as well. So it's starting now, and then it will go the whole way through to the solar eclipse. Is this a solar or this is a lunar eclipse, and then the solar eclipse on the 29th. Is that correct? I can't remember, but we have these two eclipses, the next one being on the 29th, and apparently there's huge energy coming in on the 29th from the galactic, if you listen to what's her name, Nancy Rebecca, I think it's her name. I talked about her a long time ago, with the blue lights, the blue light beings. And so a lot of people, through their psychic channels or through astrology, whether it's the eclipse or whether it's through the cosmic support, a lot of people are tuning into this through their own individual way of perceiving, right, their own expansion. And but a lot pointing, and of course this month, a lot of people, astrologers, psychics, saying March 2025, and some people have been honed in on this time for years, is the most intense month of this year. And so big changes, big, right? Big fire hose, big, really pushing things through. And so it's so anyway, this energy going on until the end of the month, until through that next eclipse, and then we start integrating. So really intense. So just working with the energies in that way, turning towards yourself, knowing that there's something in you that wants to be acknowledged, that wants to be felt, that wants to be held, that wants to have you break down on the floor and cry for it because you love it and you feel for it, and you're going to turn towards it and see it and bring it back into wholeness. That kind of allowing it to be that big, allowing it, not like business as usual. I'm going to carry on and do my job and tend to my empire. It's like, no, we're going to break down, we're going to break down, but we also do have support, and seek out support if you need it, from, whatever's accessible and aligned for you and your community. And the cosmos, exactly. And there it is again. We're starting, I'm going to end there, but we're starting and ending with these huge cosmic energies. And that's what this eclipse season is about. That's what this time in human evolution is about. It's coming back to that cosmic energy where everything gets unified. So we're moving out of a lot of Piscean energy, even in the outer planets, with Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries. Aries. And so, kind of completing a cycle, but we're doing a tour. We're doing a tour with the whales right now into the deepest parts of the ocean, into the farthest reaches of the cosmos, and we're bringing ourselves back home, and we're bringing that continuity. We're going out and we're retrieving parts of ourselves. That's what we've been doing the last few months. And wrapping up that and wrapping up those cycles before we start on this new path. This new path in the eclipse is starting to push that new path through that higher hose energy, fire hose energy. This is activation energy, and starting that creation, that new earth creation. We're starting to feel that energy. So I hope that was helpful to you. Thank you for listening to me ramble on if you've made it this far. And and so anyway, enjoy this time, enjoy this passage if you can, just knowing that it really is taking us to where we want to be, taking us to the depths and the farthest reaches of ourselves. So, okay, much love to you, and I'll see you next time if I do.